Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of The Watching Men. My name's Carl.
And I'm Mark. And guess what, Carl?
What's that, sir?
We've got feedback
No
on
way.
the Twitter
Get out.
for the first time, I think, in let's have a look.
In such a
Approximately.
long time. Sorry, just getting into the mood for our later subject.
No, don't, because I'm still coming off that emotional roller coaster. We've had a first feedback in 59 days.
We're so popular.
Yeah, and I've been tweeting, I've been using the hashtags, and yeah, I might even go on to Fiverr and hire a social media manager, so I actually outsource my own job. But anyway, so we have been watching Snowpiercer, which we're going to cover in a minute. We've had some feedback from at10x stating Snowpiercer is rubbish from
Vindication.
From concept to execution. You asked for suggestions. Here's a short series that has an exquisite twist in the last scene. Netflix, the Island. So not Island, Island.
Island. Okay. So this is when 10 people wake up on a treacherous island with no memory of who they are and how they got there. They set off on a trek to try and get back home, only to discover the world is not as it seems. That looks interesting. 7 episodes. Okay, I can check that. I'll check that one out for next week.
How many episodes is that?
7.
Oh, that's all right. That's an evening of binge watching. I mean, if you can sit through Eurovision, then this is yeah. But before we get on to that, Storm Gavelli has got. We both saw this and thought it was going to be a stereotypical reboot / reimagining of Sherlock Holmes, but it might not be. Sherlock and Mycroft Holmes have a younger sister, and this September she's taking her first case. Starring Millie Bobby Brown, who I had a very interesting search result for, Henry Cavill, Sam Claflin, and Enola Holmes. It actually says in here. Well done, Netflix. What's your thoughts on this one, Carl?
Well, so I didn't know what I thought. Here we go again. It's your typical, let's make a strong female character, which is fine, but then let's put her into something that already exists. But then it turns out that it's just going to be based on the Enola Holmes mysteries, which is a young adult fiction detective thing that came out back in 2006, series of adventures. So it's basically a retelling, well, not a retelling, but an addition to the classic Holmes mythology. So this author, Nancy Springer, is...
I hope she's a no-nonsense attitude talking girl who's never going to take no for an answer.
I'm sure she is, because they were all the rage in that time period. So basically she's like 20 years of Sherlock Holmes' junior, and it's the young sister, and both Sherlock and Mycroft are trying to put her into a finishing school and get rid of her, but she escapes and starts off a clandestine private detective agency specialising in missing persons, as obviously people did back then in that day and age. So yeah, they're going to use a lot of canon from Sherlock Holmes. I don't know. It could be good, it could be entertaining, it could be obnoxious. We don't know, do we? That's the trouble.
It doesn't sound like it's aimed at us.
No, it's not someone. They're not replacing Sherlock Holmes. But again, if you start messing around with these sort of characters, you need to tread carefully these programs, because there's a lot of love for that character going through hundreds of years or so. Yeah,
but that doesn't matter. I mean, look what they did to Star Wars. That had generations. And
it was 7. It's 70s. This is when was Sherlock Holmes created? Back in the late 1800s, wasn't it? Or something? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so it's right for a reboot or reimagining.
Well, it has been done, reimagined so often. There was the dreadful Will Farrell Sherlock Holmes recently, which was god awful. But they tried to do a comedy out of Sherlock Holmes when it had been done so well previously in Without a Clue with Michael Caine and Ben Kingsley. That's a fantastic film, I thought. Anyway, and a nice little interesting twist, like John Watson is the super sleuth, but Sherlock Holmes is the fool. They just twisted it around slightly, which is what you need to do with some of these franchises. Sometimes just present them, but with a twist to make them entertaining. Obviously, it's not canon, so don't worry about that. But it's only when it's not canon, it doesn't matter. It's when they say, "Oh yeah, and this is canon." Well, who says? You know, you can't ask Sir Arthur Conan Doyle because he's dead. So, you know, they need to. I just wish they'd treat some of these more established characters and mythoses with a bit more respect. That's all.
And I hope it doesn't go full Star Wars where, you know, any established male character is suddenly robbed of any personality or skills or ability. And that's the thing. I don't mind these reimaginings, but you look at it at the cost. And this whole, if you want a good show about inclusivity, The Politician, I loved watching that. Cheesy, tacky, obvious, but I enjoyed it. And it didn't, you know, you had lesbians and tri and bi and whatever. And it was just like, I didn't notice it. I just noticed quite a good Netflix series. And that's how it should be. It doesn't need to be at the expense of anything else, which is what I think we get frustrated about, is that one person's development comes at the sacrifice of another, with nothing more than putting the other person over.
Yeah, that's one of the basic problems I have with a lot of this stuff as well. So, you know, but again, you're on shaky ground here because you got Sherlock and Mycroft. Most people know who Sherlock is. Mycroft to a lesser extent, like casual Sherlock fans might know who Mycroft is. But, you know, these established characters, and BBC have already messed this up big time with their... It started off so strong, their Sherlock series on the BBC, and it just fell into an abysmal television towards the end because they focused on the wrong things. Instead of focusing on the story, which they did initially, of the Sherlock Holmes... So what they did is they took some of the stories from the past and modernised them and put a little twist on them. But then as they went further along, the story wasn't about the detective story. It became about the detective. And, you know, in the end, they even stopped showing you how Sherlock was coming to his understanding of the case, because they did it so well in the beginning, but as it went on, you got less and less of that, and all of a sudden he just knew. He knew that this guy was the baddie. He knew that this was going to happen. He knew he wasn't clairvoyant, Sherlock. He was a great deducer of facts and things he saw before him, and this is kind of what the Robert Downey Jr. Films got wrong. It was like, oh yes, he's going to do this, he's going to punch that, I'm going to block this. No, he's not clairvoyant. He can understand what happens after the fact by seeing it, by observation, by deduction. He's not a flipping clairvoyant. Please make that distinction when it comes to Holmes. And he's a wonderful character, you know. And he is literally part of the British, you know, fictional establishment. You've got to be very careful.
Oh, I hope it's got Americans trying to do English accents.
well, hang on, that's not allowed now. What are you talking about? We can't have anyone doing an accent that they are not themselves.
Oh yes.
So I am frankly from this point on, I don't want any American to do a British accent. I don't want any a British person to do an American accent, which is basically half the British actors out of business. We can't have any of that anymore, apparently, because us, the general public, are morons and we don't understand that this is called acting. Oh dear God. There was
the actress who voiced Diane Nugent in BoJack Horseman has come out of the woodwork at the moment going, I regret playing this vaguely American, Vietnam, Korean character. If I'd have known then what I knew now. And it's like, okay, give your money back. Donate it to charity. No, you're not going to do that, are you? And it's just, it's how far do people want to take this? Like the voice of Cleveland Brown was acted by a white guy. And he says now that he's never going to voice a black character or coloured character ever again. The Simpsons are only going to be using appropriate ethnicity for their characters.
But they're yellow.
Sorry?
But the Simpsons are yellow. What does that mean?
Well, I think it's more Apu, isn't it? That everyone got...
Well, they'd already stopped doing Apu. Like Hank Azaria said he wasn't going to do Apu anymore.
But there are also any other characters of different nationalities, creeds, colours,
but they're
races.
Yellow.
I don't make the rules.
Well, someone explain the rules to me then. because I don't understand.
I'm going to tweet that
Brian in Family,
that shared.
Brian in Family Guy is a dog. So,
and the white dog is that.
Well,
part of the, it's how do you voice a white dog?
I'll tell you what, they better not mess with Darth Vader, because James Earl Jones is Darth Vader, and that's it. Hayden Christensen is all well and good, but there's no way you're dubbing his voice onto James Earl Jones and getting away with that stuff.
Oh God, yeah. God, I feel just uncomfortable even thinking about it. But speaking of uncomfortable, should we do Snowpiercer?
No, I don't want to. They did. What do we?
I'm gonna next time we watch it.
I'm all caught up, by the way.
Sorry?
I am all caught up. All 7. I've seen all so far released 7 episodes. I am fully up to date.
It's not getting better, is it? Did you notice in last week's episode that the lovemaking scene was actually longer?
Oh, I skip any of that. I'm not watching. I don't care. They're not going to titillate me. Oh yeah, making out. Skip. Done. Right. Okay.
Not being inclusive, Carl, because you've got the blonde-haired lesbian who's American with the Chinese-looking Asian woman.
That's not what I'm watching
the
show
for. The black guy with the white woman.
But so what?
You're not being inclusive, Carl.
That is great that they're doing those hitch-ups. I just don't care. That's what I don't care that part of the story. It's like when I read a book and they start having like intercourse. I just okay, speed. Okay, they finished.
The thing is, I've got no problem with any of this. It's just the fact it doesn't add anything to the story.
Precisely.
And if you look,
that's the point.
Always comes in the first 15 minutes, pardon the phrasing, it always comes in the first 15 minutes. I was so glad when this week they got it over and done within the first couple of minutes. I was like, I'm actually going to make a bingo card, right? Protagonist, tick. Bad scene, tick. Plot of the week, tick. It's just so formulated. But Jennifer Connelly's doing her best with this, but even her character is starting to go, there needs to be someone else.
I don't know. I know what you're referring to the other week now when she goes all Ray, by the way. I now know what you meant by that. And I was just thinking, I don't care. I really don't care about these characters. I couldn't, like, they get to the cliffhanger, the supposed cliffhanger, and I'm thinking, who cares? We had a character death in the last episode, and I'm like, I don't care. It makes
I was actually just having to think, because that was quite a controversial thing, wasn't it? Because it's all over the press that particularly gruesome, I'm going to do air quotes, which I hate doing, gruesome torture scene where this woman is having her finger iced up.
Do spoilers if you're going to do this.
Well, yeah, I haven't said who.
No, but it's pretty obvious when it's about to happen what's going to happen now you've said that. Spoiler alert, anyone. Skip ahead.
It was already in Apple News and everyone's read it.
Okay.
Anyway, there's a torture scene and it got absolutely slammed for how grotesque it was. And I'm looking...
No pun.
Yeah. I'm going, really?
No, that was pretty naff, lame and stuff.
I was more upset about, and spoiler alert, you've got 3 seconds, when the arm is right. So there's an interrogation scene, and I'm holding my head because I need to self-soothe. There's an interrogation scene in the hospitality suite, a hospitality suite that we have seen weeks and weeks and weeks, that now has a prisoner bar, so
an interrogation table.
Yeah.
And a convenient hose pipe to the outside to use for torture situations.
Now, do you remember in last week's episode when I called out the fact that they drilled a hole into the train?
Well, I didn't drill. I looked at that. I didn't drill. It was a slide or something, and they moved it out of the way to let daylight in to make a pinhole camera. That was what they did.
To the air outside, which is cold enough to take someone's arm off and kill them through a small hose, and they whack back an aperture in the train, everyone's fighting nice and toasty. I like Jennifer Connelly. She's playing that character, but it's starting to become a bit old now. The Ice Maiden Queen, and you know, when you sing it and you think it's one of those shows that was like, okay, let's watch this, and you want it to be good, and this is the thing. I'm reaching that thing of.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the cast. The cast could be, if they were in something good, they'd all be spectacular. I think it's literally the premise that is holding it down. The premise isn't that good. That's the problem.
Did you notice? Oh, sorry, go on.
No, the problem is, like, literally, I can't. When I look at the actors, there's no one that I'm thinking is acting bad. Everyone's acting competently and, you know, giving it their all. It's just the plot. The plot is so. It's just like the conceit. I think is the problem. Like I say, you can get, like I said the other week, you can get away with the idea of them all on a train, and it's hurtling around the planet to continue to survive for the last 6 years, or I think they said 18. But that's fine in a movie when you haven't got time to question it. It's just a quest from the back of the train to the front of the train. That's the story. Now they're trying to engage in all this social eco stuff. And, like, you know, the people at the back want to revolt and they need the third class to take over the second class to take over the first. And you're thinking, but I don't care. If just pull the cord and, like, separate the trains and you've not got a problem anymore. If they, you know, but we need the back cart because they are part of the ecosystem. Well, hang on, but you showed in the first or second episode, I can't remember which one, that they just stormed the train and all got on, and they're a pain in your literal butt of the train. So why do you need them? Because we promote from within. The
carriages are smaller at the back.
Oh, the width of the carriages change depending on what car you're in. It's the most uneven train ever. There's this like ballroom train, and you think, how wide's this carriage? Because no other carriage is this wide.
And the scene that opens up on this Monday's episode that's just gone, the bedroom's massive. It's bigger than my bloody bedroom.
And it was funny. They made a casual reference, like, oh, you know, the first class, they've got a bowling alley. How does that work on a train?
And then I love the fact they want you to know it's 1,001 cars long, 10 kilometers, and it's like if they just shut up about it. And I think This is the thing. The direction is, who are they aiming this at? Are they hoping that people are just going to drop in and drop out and pick it up as it goes along, which is why they need to keep repeating the same element?
I don't know. I'm watching it just for the sake of the show. If we weren't doing the show, I wouldn't be watching it. Period. Done. I'd be done with it by now.
Now, we had a conversation the other day, and you said to me, what we're going to watch, and you gave me a choice.
Now, before we carry on, I'd just like to state that because of Mark's choice, he's no longer allowed to pick what films we are going to review.
He gave you a choice of two.
I think his plan now is, because he lives in the arse end of nowhere and his life isn't much fun, he wants to reduce my life to exactly the same.
I gave you a choice of two shows. One was a quirky holiday comedy thing on Netflix, or Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. So, it's the plot. And in a small town of Husavik, Iceland, Lars Eriksson and his best friend Sigrid Erik make music together as the band Fire Saga. The dad disapproves. They, by a fluke of accident, so they go to a qualifying round, completely cock it up, but then luck is on their side because on the party boat that they didn't go to, it blows up, and so they're through to Eurovision.
How often does that happen? All the time. So annoying. Yep. So that's the basic premise. They get to relive their dream after being completely useless, but now because of circumstances, they get to live out their dream. And for us, we get to live out a nightmare.
Now, I will admit, Carl, I didn't mind half of this.
Yes, that's true, because it's basically following the Will Farrell format that he has done in about 4 other movies.
And it has the song Jar Jar Ding Dong.
Which is what? Did you just like that song? Or is that song from somewhere?
The second that came on, that was all that was in my head for the rest of the movie, was just the Jar Jar Ding Dong song.
There are some good performances in this if you're into the poppy Euro trash type stuff. Absolutely. But that, if you're not into that, that's also its downfall.
It does get hard to watch at times. There's a sing-along scene where, and this,
I wanted to kill myself.
Doing a lot of. I need a massage bar or something for my. I've got a tension headache brewing, but where. So there's loads of people that are doing Eurovision in this room, and they do a sing-along. Oh my God, the auto-tuning. Whoever was doing that really needs to go back and reevaluate that. But then the movie goes from being a movie to people looking directly at the camera.
Well, yeah, because they got a lot of those people doing the singing in that scene were ex-Eurovision winners.
Good to see Lordy back.
I don't know who that is, but okay.
Trying to be.
I don't know any of these people. I've not used Eurovision since I was a child because I can't stand it. But that's what I'm saying, and that's probably the point. If you like Eurovision Song Contest, this is probably like this will be awesome for you. I mean, you'll probably look at the comedy and think that's a bit lame, but the rest of it, because they treat the actual contest quite well, I think. It's not done. It is done for spoofs, but not in a nasty way. It's like it's quite respectful of the contest itself, which I wouldn't be. So it does treat it well, and the production is fantastic, and the way it shows it all, and it's got Graham Norton in there doing the commentary. There's little jives and that's the UK, or that's the UK song. No points, no one likes them. Oh yeah, that's probably true actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so if the Eurovision Song Contest is your thing, you'll probably get a lot of enjoyment out of this. However, if it's not, all you're left with is the comedy, and the comedy and the plot is basically the same as Semi-Pro, for example, from Will Farrell. It's the down on his luck or their luck team that then struggle and win through and overcome adversity. Is that storyline?
Wacky things that happen.
Yeah, it's Blades of Glory. It's Pro.
Oh, I love that film.
So do I.
I think I was hoping this was going to be. It started off a little bit like that,
yep.
And then it went in some weird directions. I feel like the amount of times that Will Ferrell drops his accent and just talks American in a couple of the airport scenes, and then there's a few scenes outside the Eurovision where it's packed. It's absolutely rammed. It's Eurovision night, and he goes outside, and there's no one there.
No one there.
Upstairs,
that's because they have to have no
one there,
quiet
and there's
moment.
no background noise at all. And you just the stage direction. Listen to me, trying to be all posh, was really good. I didn't like. I think if they were going to do Eurovision, I think they should have kept it to the performance shots, not done the shots where the actors, actresses are facing the crowd.
Yeah.
And then they turn, and it's a really awkward cut as they're walking with their back to the crowd.
When I was actually doing the stage performances, I kind of thought that looked really good from a technical point of view. And you're right. And then they'd suddenly turn, and it would be a film again. So it went from a live performance, it looked like a live, obviously it wasn't a live, but it looked like a live performance, to turn to sing into camera like the camera person was on stage with them. But it was and you suddenly thought, well, it made you jump out of like the moment for a little while. But it's just one of those things. I think it's got a middle of the road rating. It's got 6.7, so it's quite high on the ratings for IMDb. But I'm not even going to look at what Rotten Tomato is or Tomato.
I'm gonna. You feel? I'll look it up.
Okay, but like I say, it's something if you've seen a Will Ferrell movie, you've seen this plot line. I mean, the girl, the female, the woman in it, the actress, Rachel McAdams. See, I couldn't work out. I thought this can't be her voice when she's singing, and apparently it is on some tracks, but not when she's really belting it out. They've got someone else to do the song.
You can tell when they've auto-tuned her, and this isn't to slight her. And God only knows some of this so-called music that the young kids are listening today is all auto-tuned.
Do they use the Euro? I don't think they do somehow.
Rotten Tomato gave it 60%, and the audience gave it 80%.
Wow. Well, we're well out of tune on this one, it seems, Mark.
Well, this is what I was thinking. This is probably not a film to watch on a Monday evening or Tuesday morning. It's definitely a weekend film with a few drinks, with a few friends, and just enjoying a bit of nonsense for what it is.
Definitely.
And this is the thing. I know we've dinged on a lot of movies and a lot of stuff, but honestly, didn't mind this. The only bit I minded was when the spoilers in 3, 2, 1 was the elves at the end. That's when the movie literally jumped the shark for me.
What elves at the end? Did I miss something?
Yeah, right. So he's left Eurovision to go back home. Yeah. He then finds out he's got into Eurovision. He jumps off the boat.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant we see him. Right. You mean when they save him?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. When you said see the elves, I thought, no, because we don't see them.
Oh, sorry. The elves save him. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he throws the dagger out the little thing.
I thought it was funny.
That's when I went.
I knew that was going to happen. As soon as you saw that setup earlier on, I thought that's going to happen, but I thought we'd see him, and it would be like Adam Sandler or one of his mates, doing a bit part dressed up as an elf or something. Because I thought, well, he's going about he don't believe they're elves, and he was in a film called Elf. So I thought this is bound to be a joke. This is bound to be a joke somewhere in the offing. It just didn't come, unfortunately, in the manner I thought it was going to come. But, yeah, I mean, it's actually, strangely enough, when it started off, the plot was Iceland doesn't want to put in a strong contender because they don't want to put on the Euro next year because the winner has to host it the following year. And I thought, my God, they're going with a Father Ted plot. It's so weird.
Oh.
Didn't you notice? Didn't you think that?
You said it, yeah.
As soon as they started...
my word, yes.
Oh, come on, Mark. As soon as they started going down that route, I thought, they've copied Father Ted. Which is great if they play a lovely, lovely horsey horse, my lovely horse.
This is my biggest complaint. So I liked Pierce Brosnan being grumpy Pierce Brosnan. I thought,
but he's not Icelandic. He's not Icelandic. How did he play that role? He's not Icelandic. I don't understand how that could be.
You just have to talk like this, Karl.
Isn't that insulting, though? Surely that's insulting to every Icelander going. He's putting on a funny voice.
Well, I think this might have been done before the movement. Although, imagine if...
Hollywood is going to tie itself up in so many knots. They're not going to be able to produce anything.
You know what we should have done? We should have watched this in Icelandic to be all-inclusive.
Well, it started off in Icelandic. I was thinking, do I need subtitles?
Is there actually a dub?
I don't know.
That would be... Oh, God. So you've got English people playing Icelandic, then it's going to be dubbed into Icelandic.
Dub star version.
But I would say I liked the film. It's not exactly standout. My only disappointment is that it didn't go where I thought it was going to do, where they have this song and nobody likes it, so they do the My Little Horse and start playing Jar Jar Ding Dong.
Yeah, actually, that's what I thought it was going to be as well. Because this song that he hates to play, and I thought that's going to be the one that wins, but I'm totally wrong. As soon as they pull out this other little plot point halfway through, I thought that's the song that they're going to win with. Well, they don't really, do they? But it's. I mean,
hope that Jar Jar Ding Dong will be available as a ringtone.
We've just basically spoiled the entire movie, so you don't have to watch
it. Well, but I think it's a film that you would go back and watch again.
No, never. I'm never watching it again.
I think if there's it's not exactly a pick-me-up song. It's not exactly an inspirational song. As you say, it's just typical Will Ferrell, but it went on a bit too long. I think the 2 hours, 5 minutes was...
Oh, yeah, it was 2 hours, yeah.
And ridiculous. I think some of the scene... It became a little bit towards the end like a Will Ferrell ad-lib comedy sketch ripping on Americans. It could have been edited down to be a bit tighter, I think, because it was quite long for the payoff. But it was all right.
But you're still banned from ever picking a film we watch again, by the way.
I gave you a choice of 2, and you chose this.
Well, we got our one for next week, so we got The Island. So we're going to try and crack through 7 episodes of that before the next one.
I want to see what the alternative I gave you was. Hang on. Did me and Kelly have a row about Picard? No, we didn't. And that's another thing. That's coming. Snowpiercer. I'm going to go back to this because in the scene where you're in a train, right? There's only 2 directions you can go, isn't there? Left or right. So when you're planning your escape, you walk out of the room, you're going to go one of 2 ways. Mm-hmm. And this scene bugged me because this woman walks out, goes left. 3 seconds later, the guard comes out the same room, looks right and left, and doesn't see her.
But he doesn't, does he? He comes out, he looks right, holds, then looks left. See, instead of just coming out and going, that gives them valuable time to get round the corner. It's like
on a train.
On a train, like middle of the carriage.
There are 1,001 characters and mainly going straight.
Yep, that's about the size of it, I'm afraid. And they've got a bowling alley on a train.
I can't find Game Night on Amazon. That's what I offered you, and I'm going to look this up on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is that the one with Jason Bateman?
That's him.
Yeah, I love that film.
So that's what we could have watched.
But that's old. That's the only thing. I'll tell you what. Have you checked out? I'm not sure if it's new on Netflix, but I've got to be careful. Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, SCHITTS.
I think it is, and I'm enjoying that at the moment. It's about a rich family that loses all their wealth and they have to go and stay in a town that the father bought the son as a joke, and they live in this motel and they're now dirt poor. It's just good fun, really. 6 seasons, I think Netflix has got, because it's just finished.
And if you are looking for something else that's a good, decent watch, I keep going on about it, The Righteous Gemstones. Classic Danny McBride fodder, and it's just so watchable. Because although it's a Danny McBride vehicle and he sort of sounds still like and acts like the guy from Eastbound and Down, which I think is a classic, there's still enough difference in the characters to really go, you know what? It looks the same, a few mannerisms are the same, but you can see how the character has changed.
Good. Well, where on earth can everyone get hold of us, Mark?
Well, if you want to be like Storm Gavelli and mention something random like Christopher Nolan directing Michael Caine to Say Never in Batman Begins, or Storm Gavelli, or at 10X, or at Sunhill Plot, you can find us online at watching_men on the Twitter.
And that's it for us for another show. If you want to get in touch with us, as Mark said, please do. Tell us if you've watched anything we've talked about and you're enjoying it or not enjoying it, or if you want to promote anything, if you want to point us in the right way towards some good stuff, we'd be very grateful for that currently.
Your choice.
Oh my
well, admittedly, I did just pick the first thing that came up on the Amazon banner when I went in as a bit of a challenge.
And?
That was it, Game Night.
Oh, right, sorry. But I've watched that. But anyway, like I say, check out Schitt's Creek, spelled SCH. So, and what's the other one? The Island, that's it. The Island. We're also going to check out for next week. And
do the anchor plug.
And if you like Eurovision, then probably that Eurovision, the song contest, the Story of Fire Saga is for you. But if you don't like Eurovision, no.
I think if you like a good cheesy chick, it's not even a chick flick, is it?
No.
It's worth a watch if you just want something stupid. Mm-hmm. And of course, we've got the YouTube here, and if you're listening to it, we've got the podcast. And if you've got the old Anchor app, why didn't you do a voice message thing? Because we've had one. And that's been in more than 67 days, as I'm looking here on the Twitter.
Exactly. So please do. Please try and get in touch with us. It's good to have a little bit of feedback and a little bit of fun with our listeners as well. Or, of course, you can always leave us a review on the podcast app if you so wish. We've not had any reviews, as far as I'm aware, either, for a very long time. I think we've only had one. So, please.
I mean, we do this so you don't have to, and then you watch this, and then so it helps us. I don't know, like, share, subscribe.
That's the one. So until next time, when we're all back here once again, which will probably be next week, and we'll probably slag off Snowpiercer once more. Everybody out there, please stay safe and be nice to each other. Bye.
I do hope they have another sex scene within the first 4 minutes. Bye.